Imagine opening a birthday gift for your daughter, expecting joy, only to feel your heart stop. That's what happened to Claire Thompson when her 7-year-old Lila unwrapped a small velvet box on a crisp autumn morning. Inside was a sapphire necklace, delicate and shimmering, engraved with Dear Hazel. Hazel, Claire's sister, a name unspoken in their home for years. The sight of it sent a chill through Claire, her hands trembling as memories of betrayal flooded back. This wasn't just a gift. It was a ghost from her past, a reminder of a sister who'd torn their family apart. Lila, oblivious, twirled the necklace, her eyes wide with wonder, but Claire saw something darker. A message, intentional and cruel, hidden in the sparkle. What secret was her family unearthing now? And why drag Lila into it? Stick with me as we unravel this story. It's raw, it's real, and it's going to hit you hard. If it moves you, hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and don't forget to share and subscribe to join me for more stories that cut deep. The package arrived at their cozy Seattle home, a modest craftsman with a creaky porch, on Lila's birthday. Claire's parents, Evelyn and Walter, had mailed it from their farm in rural Oregon, the address scrawled in Evelyn's meticulous cursive. Inside, nestled in tissue paper, the necklace gleamed, a deep blue stone set in silver, eerily similar to one Hazel wore as a teenager. Claire's husband, Nate, glanced over, chuckling. "Fancy for a kid, huh? She'll lose it in a week." But Claire couldn't laugh. The engraving wasn't a mistake. It was a deliberate echo of Hazel, who'd vanished after shattering their lives. Lila, in mismatched socks and a glittery birthday crown, held it up. "Mom, who's Hazel?" she asked, her voice small. Claire's throat tightened. She forced a smile, saying, "Just a mix-up, sweetheart." But her mind screamed, "They're doing it again." The necklace wasn't for Lila. It was a shrine to Hazel, a sister who'd always outshone Claire, even in absence. As Lila danced off to show Nate, Claire's gaze lingered on the gift, her pulse racing. What were her parents playing at? Claire Thompson's childhood was like living in a house where all the windows faced her sister Hazel's light. Growing up in a small Oregon town, Claire was always the quieter one, the girl with the sketchbook, unnoticed next to Hazel's Radiance. At 10, Claire's birthday party should have been her moment. Balloons, a lopsided cake, cousins running wild in the backyard. But Hazel, 12 and newly crowned junior pageant queen, stole the show. She floated in, wearing a sapphire necklace that caught every eye, its blue stone glinting like it held secrets. The family clapped as Hazel twirled, her laughter filling the air, while Claire stood by the punch bowl, clutching a paper plate. "Look at her shine," Evelyn, their mother, whispered to a neighbor, not glancing at Claire. When Claire tugged at her mom's sleeve, saying, "It's my day," Evelyn's sharp reply cut deep. "Don't be selfish, Claire." That moment etched itself into her, a quiet realization she'd always be second to Hazel's effortless charm. Hazel had a way of making everyone lean in, her stories weaving magic, her smile disarming even the grumpiest ants. Claire tried to mimic her, copying Hazel's confident walk, her lilting laugh, but it never worked. She was just Claire, the shadow, forever chasing a glow she could never catch. As the party faded, Claire sat on the porch, staring at the stars, wondering if she'd ever be seen. Years later, that necklace in Lila's hands brought it all rushing back, linking past to present like a chain. Why had her parents sent it? Were they still chasing Hazel's light, even now? The weight of Hazel's betrayal hit Claire like a slow-motion crash, its wreckage stretching across years. In her 20s, Hazel burst into the family with a dazzling pitch. An art gallery in Portland, bold and eco-chic, promising to showcase local talent. Her mock-ups were sleek, photos of vibrant paintings, a minimalist website, even emails from buyers ready to invest. Claire, scraping by as a graphic designer, believed in her sister's vision. So did their parents, Evelyn and Walter, who poured their retirement savings into Hazel's dream. "It's a sure thing," Hazel said, her eyes sparkling with that old pageant queen charm. Claire chipped in too, more than she could afford, because Hazel's glow made you want to believe. But the gallery never materialized. Hazel's updates grew vague, then stopped. Calls went unanswered, texts ignored. Then silence. She was gone, leaving behind a trail of empty promises and drained bank accounts. Worse, Claire discovered Hazel had opened credit cards in her name. Small balances at first, then thousands piling up like a storm. Debt collectors hounded Claire, her credit score tanked, and she worked double shifts at a coffee shop to keep her parents' farm from foreclosure. Evelyn and Walter, broken by Hazel's deception, leaned on Claire without question, their gratitude thin and fleeting. "We're family," they'd say, as if that erased the cost. Claire paid month after month, believing they were all victims. Until that sapphire necklace arrived, its engraving a cruel hint that Hazel wasn't as gone as they'd let on. Had they known where she was all along? The question burned, tying Claire's past sacrifices to the necklace's chilling message, pulling her deeper into a truth she wasn't ready to face. The sapphire necklace wasn't just a gift. It was a mirror reflecting a truth Claire Thompson had tried to bury. As Lila held it up, the engraving "Dear Hazel" glinting in the morning light, Claire's stomach churned. This wasn't some off-the-shelf trinket from a mall. The delicate silver chain, the deep blue stone, the star-shaped clasp. It was a near-perfect replica of the necklace Hazel wore during her pageant days, the one that made her the center of every room. Claire's parents, Evelyn and Walter, hadn't just picked it out. They'd had it made, custom-crafted to resurrect a memory that wasn't Lila's. Why? The question clawed at Claire as she stood frozen in her Seattle kitchen, coffee mugs still cluttering the counter. Lila, oblivious to the storm brewing in her mother, giggled and asked, "Can I wear it, Mom?" Claire's voice came out sharper than intended. "No, sweetheart, not this one." Her hands shook as she took the necklace, its weight heavier than silver and stone. This was her parents' obsession with Hazel, etched into a gift meant for her daughter. They weren't seeing Lila. They were chasing Hazel's ghost, trying to dress a 7-year-old in the past. Nate, sensing the shift, frowned and said, "Maybe they got the name wrong?" But Claire knew better. Evelyn's meticulous nature didn't allow for mistakes. This was deliberate, a message that her parents still held Hazel above all, even after her betrayal. The necklace linked Claire's childhood pain to this moment, a thread pulling tight across decades. Were they trying to rewrite history through Lila? Or was something darker at play, something they'd hidden all these years? The answer lay just beyond her reach, but Claire felt it closing in, cold and unyielding. The sapphire necklace sat on Claire Thompson's dresser like a ticking bomb, its engraved "Dear Hazel" staring back at her. That night, with Lila asleep and the house quiet, Claire made a choice. Not loud or dramatic, but sharp, like a blade cutting through years of tangled loyalty. She opened her banking apps, one by one. Her fingers steady despite the storm in her chest. Grocery card reloads for her parents. Cancelled. Monthly transfers for their utility bills. The half payments toward their Oregon farm's mortgage. Erased with a single tap. Each click felt like peeling off a weight she'd carried too long. Claire wasn't just stopping the money. She was reclaiming her life. She folded the necklace into a plain paper bag, its blue stone glinting one last time, and wrote a note, each word carved from years of being unseen. "You chose Hazel. I was the one who stayed. Don't call me again." The next morning before dawn, she drove to her parents' farm, the road winding through misty fields. Their house looked unchanged. Same sagging porch, same rosemary bush clawing at the mailbox, but it felt like a stranger's now. Claire left the bag on the doorstep. No knock, no goodbye, just the crunch of gravel as she walked away. Her phone buzzed by 8 a.m., Evelyn's number, then Walter's, calls piling up like unpaid bills. Claire didn't answer. She'd spent years bailing them out, believing they were all victims of Hazel's betrayal, but that necklace screamed the truth. They'd never stopped choosing Hazel. What had they done with the money she sent? Was it all for their lost daughter? Hidden behind their pleas. The betrayal cut deeper than Hazel's lies, and Claire's silence was her answer. A line drawn, unbreakable, but at what cost? The phone call came like a ghost slipping through the cracks of Claire Thompson's carefully rebuilt world. It was a quiet Tuesday evening. Lila humming upstairs while coloring, the scent of spaghetti sauce simmering in the kitchen. When the unknown number flashed on Claire's screen, she almost ignored it, but something, instinct dread, made her answer. "Hey, Claire." Hazel's voice, smooth and familiar, hit like a jolt of electricity. 5 years of silence, and there she was, casual as if she'd just stepped out for coffee. "I heard you cut Mom and Dad off," Hazel said, no apology, no warmth. Claire's grip tightened on the phone, her pulse hammering. Hazel went on, claiming she'd been in touch with their parents, deflecting blame for the past with a breezy, "I needed space." Claire's voice was low, steady, but sharp. "You needed money. You stole from us, Hazel. You wrecked my credit, my life." Hazel's pause was heavy, her breathing practiced like she'd rehearsed this. "They need you," she said, sidestepping her own sins. "They're struggling." Claire's laugh was bitter. "Then why aren't you helping them?" Another pause. "It's complicated," Hazel murmured, her voice softer now, almost human. But Claire wasn't buying it. "You were always the star, Hazel. You don't get to call now and act like you care." The line went quiet, then dead. Hazel hung up, just like she always vanished when things got hard. Claire stared at the phone, the weight of Hazel's return sinking in. Had her parents been talking to her all along, hiding it while taking Claire's money? The necklace, the lies. It all pointed to a deeper betrayal, one that threatened to unravel everything Claire thought she'd escaped. What was Hazel running from now? And why was she pulling their parents back into her orbit? The knock on Claire Thompson's door came too early, shattering the calm of a foggy Seattle morning. Lila was still in her pajamas, spooning cereal, when Nate opened the door to find Evelyn and Walter standing there, weary and uninvited. Evelyn clutched a bakery box, lemon cake, Claire's old favorite, her face tight with forced hope. Walter loomed behind, his shoulders heavy, eyes avoiding Claire's. "We just want to talk," Evelyn said, her voice thin, like she was pleading for something already lost. Claire stood rooted in the kitchen, arms crossed, coffee pot hissing behind her. "You've been talking to Hazel," she said, not a question. Evelyn's flinch was answer enough. "Since she left," Walter admitted, his voice gruff. "She's been calling off and on." Claire's chest tightened, the pieces snapping together. Her money, her sacrifices, all while they'd been in touch with a sister who'd bled them dry. "You took my help," Claire said, her voice steady but razor-sharp. "And sent it to her, didn't you?" Evelyn's eyes darted away. "She's in trouble, Claire. Real trouble this time." Claire's laugh was cold. "She's always in trouble. And I'm your daughter too." Silence swallowed the room. Nate stood by Claire, his presence quiet but solid, saying nothing until, "I think you should go." Evelyn's lip trembled, but she didn't argue. They left the cake on the counter, a sad offering, and shuffled out. Claire stared at the box, untouched, as the truth sank in. Her parents had chosen Hazel again, even after everything. The necklace, the calls, the money. It was all part of their refusal to let Hazel go. But what kind of trouble was Hazel in now? And why did Claire feel like this wasn't the end? A year slipped by like a quiet exhale, and Claire Thompson found herself in a life that finally felt like hers. The Seattle mornings were softer now, filled with Lila's off-key singing and the clatter of Nate flipping pancakes in their cozy kitchen. The sapphire necklace, once a jagged wound, was gone, returned, forgotten, no longer haunting their home. Claire heard whispers through a distant cousin's email. Hazel had slunk back to Evelyn and Walter's Oregon farm. Her latest venture, some vague wellness brand abroad, had collapsed, leaving her broke and leaning on their parents again. The farm was up for sale now, its fields too costly to maintain, their debts piling up like old regrets. Claire didn't ask for details, she didn't need them. Her parents hadn't called since that tense morning with a lemon cake, and she hadn't reached out either. The silence was heavy but freeing. Lila, now 8, stopped asking about her grandparents, her questions fading like chalk in the rain. She was too busy being herself, twirling in mismatched outfits, sketching dragons on every scrap of paper. Claire watched her, heart full, realizing Lila was no one's shadow. The weight of Hazel's betrayal, her parents' favoritism, it no longer defined them. Nate fixed the squeaky porch step one weekend, a small act that felt like a promise. Claire slept deeply now, waking to a home that felt safe, unburdened by ghosts. But in the quiet moments, a question lingered. Had Hazel changed, or was she still spinning the same old story? For Claire, it didn't matter anymore. She'd built something new. Hers, Lila's, Nate's, a life no one could take. Claire Thompson's story isn't just about a necklace or a family's betrayal. It's about finding the strength to step out of someone else's shadow. In the soft glow of her Seattle home, Claire built a sanctuary with Lila and Nate, where Sunday mornings smell of maple syrup and laughter drowns out the past. The farm in Oregon, Hazel's return, her parents' silence. They're distant now, like a song you hum but don't need to hear. Claire's choice to cut ties wasn't easy, but it was hers, a quiet rebellion against years of being unseen. Lila's dragon sketches cover the fridge, each one a testament to a girl who shines without comparison. Nate's steady presence, fixing hinges and pouring coffee, grounds them in a love that doesn't demand sacrifice. Claire's sleep is peaceful now, her dreams no longer haunted by a sister who took too much. This is what healing looks like. Not loud, not perfect, but real. Family of 3 carving their own light. If Claire's journey hit you, if it made you think about your own boundaries or ghosts, let me know. What would you have done in her shoes? Drop it in the comments, hit that like button if this resonated, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more stories that dig deep into the heart of what makes us human. Thanks for being here. If Claire's story moved you, don't just scroll away. Smash that like button, share your thoughts in the comments. Have you ever had to draw a line like she did? Pass this video to a friend who gets it, and hit subscribe to join me for more raw, real stories that stick with you. Let's keep this conversation going.